Alright guys, Luke from the Roswell Ringers here. I really hope you can see me, it's just the camera's at a very awkward angle for working out if you can or not. So I just thought that because we haven't, had a video in a little while, I'd make a little something for you. We've got a really crappy Yamaha keyboard here, balanced on a ironing board, which I'm thinking about taking on as a gimmick. Mainly for the cow skin effect cover, which I think would look quite sweet, quite punk, quite DIY. Talking of which, I'm going to be talking you through a song today that the Roswell Ringers play live, which is by a band called Stranglers. You probably know it, Golden Brown. There's no recording of the song online or anything, so I don't see why there'd be any demand for people to know how we play it, but I thought I'd do it just because fuck you. So anyway, the Stranglers version goes a little something like this, so I'll just play it for you. Yeah, you probably recognise it. It's a really iconic song and very popular on sort of, if you listen to alternative radio a lot, late at night, you probably hear it a fair bit. So it's played on a harpsichord, and I learned how to play that, and I sort of decided that maybe it wasn't the best song for sort of live performance or whatever, considering the layout of the Roswell Ringers as a group. So I thought to myself, well, what can we do to sort of improve that? And at the time I was listening to a lot of ska music, so when I first tried to change this song to a different genre, this is what I came up with. Which is slightly embarrassing because it's not very ska at all. If anything, it's quite sort of ragtime and quite sort of, that sort of American madcap music, which is cool, but at the same time it just wasn't what I was going for, and it wasn't what the Roswell Ringers were looking for at all. So I'll just play you what I actually concluded on. Find a decent, that'll do. So I was just sort of sitting around, bumming around the chords of the bass line, and I came up with this. Which I think sounds really nice, and it takes the song to a slightly different place. It's quite a sort of like trip hop sort of. Almost R&B, I suppose you could say, and it's sort of like the structure of the chords, the changes, and the bass line and stuff. And we were sat in our rehearsal room, and I banged that out on the piano, because it can be played on the piano as well. You don't have to play it on an electric piano or a synthesizer or whatever you want to call it. But we sort of we thought that was a really good place to start. I'll just show you the chords and the bass line. So your chords are, let's see if I can get a decent angle on this. That one, forgotten the name of it. That one. No, it's not. That one, then that one, which I've also forgot the name of, and then that one. So it's hold the camera at the same time. So under that, your bass line goes. exactly the same as the original version of the song, unlike the chords, which are much more straightforward in this version. Unlike the sort of chugging chords in the original. And I think that sort of fits in and makes for a sort of slightly not easier, but a sort of easier to sort of interpretation of it for covering it live, which I think is dropping you all over the place, is very, because I think that the original version of the song would be incredibly difficult to sort of recreate live, and I've never seen a live version by the Stranglers, but I imagine that's probably the case. So I'll just play it through so you can hear it all. Like that for a few bars, then goes into the verse. Golden brown, texture like sun, lays me down, with my mind she runs throughout the night. No need to fight, never a frown. Time, just like lost on a ship, tied to a mast, to distant lands, takes both my hands, never a frown, with golden brown. Apologies for my shit singing. So yeah, it goes into that little verse pattern, which I think is more befitting of the sort of the way that the chords and stuff are structured in our version. The original version, I think, goes something like this. From that, which was one of my own conclusions, because I never bothered to learn that part of the song. I just sort of sat down and figured it out one day, you know, fuck the police. Yeah, so from that I managed to figure out that little bass line, and then I just threw the first two chords. I always get those wrong when I'm trying to do a piece to camera. When I you know, that's the first two chords from the actual song, the intro part or the bridge part or whatever you want to call it, but this part.